listeners.
Chatty Chappies.
Here we are again.
Chatty Chappies.
Chatty Chappies.
Chatty Chappies.
Chatty Chappies.
Brian and Andrew on
Chatty Chappies.
Chatty Chappies.
Thank you for turning on Chatty Chappies. Andy and Brian are recent friends who are discovering similar interests and just like chatting about all kinds of things from music to vehicles, spirituality to writing, but seldom football. No, never soccer. I mean, never football.
Chatty Chappies.
You are listening to Andrew and Brian on Chatty Chappies.
Hello, Andrew.
Hi, Brian. Here we are again.
These weeks are getting shorter
I'll
and
tell you what,
shorter.
well, the days are getting
yeah.
shorter.
Yeah.
The nights are getting longer. So in
Yeah.
our last programme,
Yeah.
you were saying, what do you do in the winter time?
Yes.
Well, we go round to each other's houses and we sit and record our thoughts. Yeah,
Of course.
We shoot the breeze.
We shoot the breeze.
We shoot the breeze.
Yeah.
There we are. Yeah, that's it.
And all these lovely people get to hear us.
And all these lovely people get to hear us.
And it's just like they're in the room with us.
It is.
And they're smiling like we're smiling.
And yeah, they're getting a laugh.
And I want to keep them smiling. And I want us to consider the state of the high street.
The state of the high street.
But maybe we should do some shout outs because we didn't do anything in the
We
last
did a
programme,
couple,
did
but
we?
we didn't. Aye.
So Jim O'Hara, hello Jim, how's life in Perth? And John Bradley, how you doing, John? Nice to see you. Ian Davidson, super accountant, how you doing, Ian? And who else can we pick up on?
We've got Jonathan and Kathana across in Cheshire and
Oh yes,
Stornoway.
in the Lewis.
Yes.
Yeah,
Aye. Aye.
good. Eric McGibbon, hi Eric. Are you still watching these programmes? That's what I want to know. And one more, who can we get? Janet McSween. Oh, Janet, you've helped me out a lot of things with translations.
Right. Wow. A
Yeah.
linguist.
Oh, definitely. And how many languages does she know? Oh, 9 plus.
Chings.
Oh, yeah. Anyway,
State of the high street.
stay at the high street.
Right. So we all moan
Yep.
about the lack of shops,
Yep.
or
Yep.
they're all the same.
Yep.
The high street in Inverness is just the same as
Yeah.
the high street in Fort William, or
Yeah.
Perth,
Yep.
and occasionally you go somewhere where there is something of an individual shop,
Yeah.
and it's interesting.
And it's good that they've survived these
It
independent
is.
shops.
It is. It is, and we're all guilty.
Yeah. Guilty?
Yeah, because we're sitting here having a wee moan,
Yep.
two grumpy old men doing it,
Yep.
and I'm going to say, you've bought on Amazon,
Yes.
you've bought online,
Yeah.
you've bought, whether it's the Amazon, the A company, or some other company,
Sound equipment,
sound equipment,
books,
t-shirts,
t-shirts,
that you might not see on
Chatty Chappies.
Chatty Chappies, or t-shirts that you might not see hanging on a rack in any high street retailer.
Right.
Not because they're rude, not because they're got offensive, they're just different.
Yep.
Presents for people.
Handy for birthdays and Christmas, isn't it?
Yes, and you very often see something that you haven't seen
Yep.
in the shop. So retail outlets in your local area have a struggle on their hands.
Oh, it must be getting more difficult and more difficult. If you think about it, even in main high streets, there's normally a couple of empty shops.
Yes.
There'll be a couple of shops where it's changed hands several times in a few years.
Yeah.
And then there'll be probably 2 or 3 charity shops.
Yes,
I've
indeed.
nothing against charity shops.
Not at all.
They provide a good service, but I'm concerned that were losing the independence.
Yeah.
Not independence, but independent
Yeah.
companies, firms, businesses. Let's think of an example. A shop you would go into and the person knew the products,
Yes.
knew the detail, knew how to fix it, knew how to clean it, knew how to operate it, whatever it might be. We don't seem to have that now. You paid your money, you take your chance, whether it's online or not. And
Are
we
we
seem to
thinking
have
about
lost.
electrical retailers there, or
It could be, well,
ironmongers,
even,
hardware to our
Yes.
American listeners?
yes, hardware. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about even things like, when was the last time you saw a gents shop for clothes and shoes, etc., that wasn't selling t-shirts and shorts?
Well, there's that one at the side of the A9 that we both know about.
Oh, down the A9, yeah.
Down the A9?
Yeah, I was thinking more in sort of cities, you know.
In cities and towns.
There's a couple of...
There are a couple of in
in
Inverness.
Inverness,
And
yeah.
Are we allowed to advertise, or do we? Yeah.
I mean, people can find them if they go
You know,
looking for them.
Corner of
Academy
Queensgate
Street?
and
Queensgate,
Academy Street.
Yeah, there's one in there.
Fancy shirts.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And is there one across the road as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Which is not necessarily independent. It's a
No,
a
it's-
tailoring
it's a-
firm.
yeah, tailoring
but again,
firm, yeah.
very good.
And then there's the Glasgow-based one, who tends to be upstairs and not in the...
Yes.
But on the high
That's
street,
on-
yeah.
But in Inverness,
Yeah.
it's on the high
Yeah.
street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there are one or two, but we've lost... Is it more the personality we've lost then in the retail?
Well, you know something. 40 years ago, I worked in a shop in Fort William,
Uh-huh.
which is no longer there.
Right.
I'll give a shout out. It was the firm of Peter McLennan and Company Limited, which was a department store.
Okay.
We sold tweed jackets,
Oh,
suits,
right.
shirts, ties.
Mm-hmm.
Very much catered for not only local
Yeah.
men. There was a ladies' department upstairs,
Yeah.
and we sold it all. We had customers in the summertime
Yeah.
who would meet one or two well-known faces of
Mm.
television and film.
Mm-hmm.
Going back then, 40 years ago, if I was to mention the name Rex Harrison,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and Burt Lancaster,
Mm-hmm.
King Hussein of Jordan,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Helen Worth,
Mm.
Gail from Coronation Street,
All right.
and many others.
Yep.
I've said this to one or two people: when you work in a shop, in a retail outlet in the Highlands, you never know who's coming through the door next.
Yeah.
You do not know whether it's a local or a Hollywood star.
Yeah.
And it was similar in the taxi business.
All right.
When I ran taxis 20 years ago, you never knew who was getting in the car next.
Yeah.
Most of the time it was local people wanting local runs. But very often you sometimes would pick up at the theatre at Eden Court here in Inverness,
Yep.
and you would be taking somebody who had been appearing.
Uh-huh.
So in my own case I had Christopher Biggins,
All right.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
and Lisa Goddard.
Oh, yes.
Lisa
Wonder
Goddard
what.
in the taxi. They had been appearing in Eden Court,
Oh, lovely.
and different people.
Different people.
Um,
So, I'm still thinking about this high street, and you know, it's almost like it needs some.
look at
Yep.
the pandemic situation
Okay, right. That's have an impact. doesn't it?
that has had an impact. Look at the shops
Yep.
that are no longer with us.
Debenhams.
Debenhams.
Yeah.
We can go back as well.
Yeah. Further back.
In Scotland, the good old D shoes,
Aye, D shoes. Arnott's and Inverness.
Arnott's.
Yeah.
A lot of shops, of course, got amalgamated by other companies. So there was Arnott's, Benzie and Millers.
Okay.
Do you remember Benzie and Millers? They were no. They all got hauled into, I think it was the House of Fraser.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I remember thinking about Jen's, J. Mackenzie.
Mackenzie's.
Dingwall and Inverness.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Well, the Inverness shop is still going under a different name. It's still the shop at the corner of Queensgate and Academy Street. I think it's now called Primo.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
All right.
But that's who they were. Fred Kelly.
Do you think the local authorities should push money into the community to help, or is it a lost cause and we just
like what do we do with how is it landlords, is it rents, is it business rates? What are the things that can be done to make retail opportunities?
Yeah.
And what you've been involved in the banks over the years. If I came to you and said I want to open a shop, what are your questions going to be to me?
Yeah, there would probably be quite a few questions. I'm thinking, well, I'll tell you what I was thinking. I'm going to duck that question. But the example here, Inverness, a big bit of work getting done in the castle. There's going to be a lot of people walking about in the high street in Inverness, as there are at the moment, tourist-wise. How do we maximise that from a business point of view? Is there several things that need to be created that are of interest so that the retail becomes an offshoot of the interest?
And there is one of the big ones. What is it people coming to the Highlands want to buy?
Yep.
Like there are people who will want tartan
tweeds
and tweeds and all the rest of
Yeah.
it. But we can't just have tweeds and tartans.
Yep.
What do we find
Yep.
to sell people
Yep.
that is still going to be something that they would want to buy, something that reflects their time in the Highlands,
Yep.
but isn't
Shortbread.
tacky, for the sake of a better word.
Yeah.
There are three big shortbread manufacturers in the north of Scotland, in Murrayshire and Aberdeenshire, who have probably got the market for supplying shortbread and fine foods of that nature.
So I've had a quick chance there when you're speaking to think about questions that you might ask the person starting the business. Is what is your background? You know, if you've got a background in business, that's going to be really helpful.
So my inflatable barbecues.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or airbags for dodging cars.
Yes. So if they didn't function very well, then maybe you need a bit of help and support.
Yes.
Then financial budget. How's it going to pan out? You know, the worst scenario financially. You know, when people do a budget, they assume they're going to have great turnover for the first day, but in fact it might take 3 or 4 weeks for people to realise you're actually open.
Yeah.
But I think one particular thing is, and you were hitting on it, is what is it that people want? You know, because I could say everybody wants to buy this nice new box of matches, and I've got hundreds of boxes of matches to sell. But if the public don't want or don't need matches, I ain't going to sell any matches.
No. That's the thing. It's finding the thing that people need to buy.
But maybe creating a market for a new product, like in the Highlands, a gentleman's coat for the winter.
Okay, right.
That could be a possibility.
That could be.
Yeah.
Like going back to days when I
Yep.
worked 40 years ago in gents outfitting,
Yep.
it was still an era when professional people,
Yep.
let's say
Yep.
the local GP,
Yep.
local solicitors, still walked around in country suits.
Yes. Dark coats, country
Those
shoes,
country
car coats.
They are coming back.
Yeah.
Tweed is reviving.
Yes.
It's a different
Yep.
style and colour of tweed, but it's selling it to outside of the Highlands.
Yeah.
Like I know that I'm going to take, for instance, the city of Manchester.
Yep.
It is a very, very urban city.
Yes.
You will not find, or you would have a great difficulty in finding somebody dressed the way you might in Inverness.
Yes.
However, I could walk down Piccadilly in London
Yep.
dressed the way I would dress in Inverness
Yes.
and not look out of place.
Yes. And I've seen, even particularly when it's been bank holidays or the beginning of the English holidays, a lot of people going to that large retail outlet
On the A9. Yeah, House of.
yeah. And a lot of people buying that type of clothing.
Yes. Yeah.
And they do a good job.
Yes. Well, again, very much so when I was working 40 years ago.
Yep.
Glorious 12th, when the shooting
Yes.
season started,
Yep.
you would get people coming. They were wanting
Yep.
the thick woolly socks
Woolly
for
socks,
the plus
yeah,
twos,
boots,
the-
gaiters, whatever. Yeah.
and the tweed jackets,
Tweed
and the plus
jackets.
twos, and the
Yeah.
such
Caps and hats and
Yeah,
all that
yeah.
stuff. Yeah. Good.
So we've got a market for it here.
Yeah. And Amazon don't do that, do they?
I think
I'm
you
not-
can possibly
Can you?
get like
You might get something.
yes,
Okay.
yeah, but aye,
Not quite, perhaps.
because I don't think there's anything they don't sell.
Well, yeah, maybe.
I think you could probably go on and buy certain
Yeah.
brands of tweed.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, listen, Andrew. We're not going to crack it tonight. On
We're
that
not.
one.
We're
No,
not.
We're not going to crack it. So I
but
think
you don't think airbags for dodging cars or inflatable barbecues are the way to go?
no. As a business proposition, it doesn't hold much water.
Okay.
Let's fly.
Okie doke. Thanks for the business advice.
See you next week.
You were listening to another program of Chatty Chappies.